The Galactic Council citadel did not orbit a sun. It fed on one. A neutron star burned beneath the lattice of obsidian alloy and living crystal, its gravity chained, bled, and converted into endless power. The structure dwarfed fleets, a monument to authority meant to remind every visiting species that resistance was futile and judgment was final. Commander Elias Rook stood alone at the center platform. No escort. No honor guard. No visible weapon. The chamber rose around him in concentric tiers, each level crowded with alien delegates, scaled, feathered, chitinous, luminous, watching in synchronized silence. Above them hovered the sigils of conquered civilizations, their names etched in fading light. Some species no longer existed beyond those symbols. Rook's posture was relaxed, hands clasped behind his back, gaze level. He did not look impressed. A resonant tone rolled through the chamber. The Compliance Tribunal is now in session, intoned the Citadel voice, ancient and mechanical. Species designation, humanity of Earth. Status, provisional member. Charge, destabilization of galactic equilibrium. High Arbiter Zeltharin rose from the apex dais. His elongated form shimmered beneath ceremonial plating, eyes like molten amber fixed on the lone human. Commander Elias Rook, Zeltharin said, his voice amplified and ritual slow. You stand before the highest authority in known space. Do you understand the gravity of this proceeding? Rook inclined his head slightly. I understand the procedure. A ripple of murmurs spread. Not fear. Not defiance. Just neutrality. Zeltharin's eyes narrowed. Earth has been observed violating containment protocols. Your species pursues gravitational research beyond assigned thresholds. Your fleets conduct unregistered maneuvers. Your data signatures vanish when tracked. He gestured, and holographic projections bloomed, graphs, simulations, selective recordings. Explain, the Arbiter demanded. Rook studied the displays, then looked back up. Those are incomplete. A hiss of amusement passed through the chamber. Incomplete? Zeltharin echoed. You dispute Council surveillance? I dispute interpretation, Rook replied evenly. Not observation. The Arbiter leaned forward. Then interpret for us. Why does a Deathworld species, barely 3 centuries spacefaring, require technologies rivaling Council arsenals? Rook paused. Not for hesitation. For precision. Because, he said, Earth does not assume protection will arrive on time. Silence followed. A few delegates shifted uneasily. Zeltharin scoffed. Paranoia is not justification. History proves the Council preserves stability. Rook's gaze drifted upward, to the sigils of extinct civilizations. History proves the Council preserves order. A sharp intake of breath rippled through the tiers. That distinction matters, Rook added. The Arbiter's plating flared faintly. Mind your tone, human. You are here to be judged, not to lecture. Understood, Rook said. Proceed. Zeltharin straightened, regaining ceremonial composure. Very well. The Council finds Earth guilty of concealed militarization and potential existential threat classification. He let the words settle, savoring them. However, leniency is possible. Rook did not react. Earth may retain sovereignty, Zeltharin continued, under strict conditions. Immediate disclosure of all military assets. Cessation of advanced gravity research. Installation of Council oversight nodes within your planetary infrastructure. A murmur of approval echoed among senior delegates. This was how it always went. Rook finally spoke. And if Earth declines? Zeltharin's smile was thin. Then Earth will be isolated. Trade embargoed. Navigation restricted. Your species will survive, barely. Long enough to regret stubbornness. The words were delivered calmly, like a physician explaining amputation. Rook considered him. May I ask a procedural question? The Arbiter hesitated, then nodded. You may. Has the council already decided the outcome, Rook asked, or is this tribunal still deliberative? A pause. The council does not summon species without cause, Zeltharin replied carefully. Rook nodded once. Then I request a procedural delay. The chamber stirred. Delays were rare and pointless. For what purpose? Zeltharin asked. To confirm Earth's compliance capacity, Rook said. A low chuckle rolled through the upper tiers. You wish time to fabricate a better defense, the Arbiter mocked. No, Rook said softly. To ensure accuracy. Zeltharin exchanged glances with several counselors. Granting a delay cost nothing. Denial might appear insecure. Very well, he said at last. You are granted one standard interval. Return with your answer. The Citadel voice resonated. Recess acknowledged. As the chamber's lights dimmed, something subtle occurred. The Citadel's threat assessment array refreshed. For the first time in its existence, an anomaly appeared. Earth diplomatic vessel, threat classification, undetermined. A secondary process triggered. Then halted. Sensors reran calculations. The result remained. 3 seconds passed. Zeltharin noticed the hesitation. Report, he commanded. A technician cast delegate stammered. The system, it cannot resolve the human vessel's profile. Its predictive models. Correct the error, the Arbiter snapped. It is not an error, the delegate whispered. Rook turned back at the edge of the platform. The delay, he said, almost kindly, has already begun. Zeltharin's gaze hardened. Explain yourself. Rook met his eyes. When Earth is judged, he said, we do not argue outcomes. We verify consequences. The human stepped onto his transport field. An Arbiter, he added as light enveloped him, consequences don't always arrive loudly. The platform vanished. Above the chamber, the threat array continued recalculating, unable to decide whether Earth was harmless. Or something far worse. The Galactic Council had passed judgment. They just didn't know yet who was truly on trial. The Galactic Council reconvened before the recess interval ended. That alone unsettled the chamber. Delegates returned in hurried clusters, whispering across private channels, mandibles clicking, feathers stiff with unease. Data streams flickered above the amphitheater, scrolling diagnostics that refused to stabilize. The Citadel's systems were flawless by design. When they hesitated, it meant something fundamental had slipped beyond prediction. High Arbiter Zeltharin took his seat without ceremony. Status, he commanded. A thin-limbed analyst stepped forward, eyes dimmed by neural overlays. The anomaly persists. Earth's diplomatic vessel remains non-hostile by armament scan, yet our strategic modeling flags it as, the analyst swallowed. Existentially relevant. A ripple of disbelief moved through the tiers. That phrase is not a classification, Zeltharin snapped. It is when the system cannot simulate loss conditions, the analyst replied. Every projection collapses after engagement initiation. We cannot model outcomes beyond first contact. Because the ship is concealed, another counselor interjected. Strip its masking. We attempted, the analyst said. There is no masking field. Silence thickened. Zeltharin rose slowly. You are telling me, he said, voice dangerously even, that a single unarmed human vessel disrupts council foresight. The analyst hesitated, then nodded. Not disrupts, he corrected. Invalidates. The word struck harder than any insult. Zeltharin turned away, claws flexing. Then expand scope. Scan Earth. Their fleets. Their infrastructure. If they hide capability, we will expose it. The command cascaded instantly. Across the Citadel, arrays realigned. Quantum telescopes pierced folded space. Archivists cross-referenced centuries of observation logs. War simulators spun up, drawing from every conflict humanity had ever fought. What returned made no sense. Earth's military footprint was modest. No massive armadas. No obvious superweapons. No aggressive deployments. Just layered redundancies, dormant frameworks, and networks that seem designed to wait rather than strike. Where are their fleets? Demanded Counselor Vreth of the Calton Clade. They are not deployed, a sensor mind replied. They are not docked. They are not concealed. Then they do not exist, Vreth said sharply. Another voice cut in. Incorrect. They are unresolved. Zeltharin's gaze hardened. Explain. The sensor mind pulsed. Human assets do not occupy fixed positions. Their doctrines avoid permanence. We detect signatures only when Earth permits detection. A murmur rose, this time edged with discomfort. The Citadel voice interrupted. Incoming procedural transmission. Source, Earth. Zeltharin straightened. Display. Commander Elias Rook appeared in the center of the chamber, standing not aboard his vessel, but within a stark, quiet room. No banners. No symbols. Just him. You requested time, Zeltharin said coldly. Explain your interference with Council systems. Rook's expression did not change. There is no interference. Then why do our projections fail? Because you are simulating conflict, Rook replied, and Earth is not. Zeltharin laughed once, sharply. Every species claims peace while sharpening blades. Then your error, Rook said, is assuming blades are our primary instruments. The chamber fell still. Rook continued, Earth did not evolve under galactic oversight. We survived without guardians. Without rescue. Our strategies reflect that history. Counselor Vreth leaned forward. You threaten us with philosophy? No, Rook answered. With preparation. Zeltharin slammed a claw against the dais. Enough. If Earth possesses deterrence, declare them now. Rook's eyes lifted, not in defiance, but in assessment. Deterrents are effective only when misunderstood. That is evasion. That is doctrine. A senior archivist spoke up hesitantly. Arbiter, we have discovered anomalies in Council war records. Zeltharin turned. What anomalies? Selective omissions, the archivist said. Engagements where enemy civilizations collapsed without decisive battles. Records attributed to internal failure. However, the archivist paused. Earth intelligence flagged these patterns centuries ago. A chill spread. You claim humans manipulated past wars? Zeltharin demanded. No, Rook said. We observe them. Learn from them. Learn what? A counselor asked. Rook's reply was quiet. That civilizations rarely fall to invasion. They fall when coordination fails. The Citadel's lights dimmed slightly as systems rerouted power. More diagnostics surfaced, communication latency spikes, command chain simulations fracturing under hypothetical stress. Zeltharin's voice tightened. Are you implying Earth can disrupt Council unity? I am stating, Rook said, that unity dependent on fear is brittle. You overestimate yourselves, Zeltharin hissed. The Council has endured millennia. And will endure more, Rook agreed. If it chooses caution. Counselor Vreth bristled. You stand accused, human. Do not dictate terms. Rook inclined his head. Then allow me to clarify ours. The chamber waited. Earth will not submit to oversight, Rook said. Nor will we escalate. We will simply remain uncooperative with hostile processes. Zeltharin narrowed his eyes. You believe that stance protects you? It already has, Rook replied. A technician cried out. Arbiter, our sanction simulations are failing. Trade embargoes destabilize multiple member economies before affecting Earth. Another voice followed. Navigation restrictions cause cascade delays across Council corridors. A third, quieter, our own fleets lose operational efficiency under prolonged isolation modeling. The realization crept in slowly, unwelcome. Earth was not central. But Earth was connected. Zeltharin turned back to the projection of the human. You designed yourselves to be inconvenient. Rook allowed the faintest hint of a smile. We designed ourselves to be ignored, until ignoring us became expensive. The arbiter straightened, authority cracking at the edges. This tribunal is not concluded. Rook nodded. Nor is Earth finished verifying. The transmission cut. Left behind, the Galactic Council sat amid flickering data and growing doubt. They had summoned humanity expecting fear. Instead, they had invited uncertainty. And uncertainty, they were beginning to understand, was far more dangerous. The Galactic Council chamber had never felt small before. Now it did. Streams of data floated above the amphitheater like fractured constellations, each projection carrying a warning, a delay, or a cascading failure. No alarms sounded. No lights flashed red. The Citadel was too refined for panic. Instead, it whispered problems softly, problems that refused to be silenced. High Arbiter Zeltharin stood alone at the apex, staring down at a future he could no longer predict. Begin final judgment, he ordered. The Citadel voice hesitated. That hesitation, brief, mechanical, unprecedented, sent a shiver through the chamber. Proceed, Zeltharin snapped. Compliance tribunal resuming, the voice intoned at last. Species, humanity of Earth. Status pending. Commander Elias Rook appeared again at the center projection. The same room. The same stillness. The same infuriating calm. You are summoned to receive the Council's decision, Zeltharin said. You will not dictate the terms of your survival. Rook's eyes moved across the chamber, taking in the unease he had seeded without force. Then speak your decision. Zeltharin inhaled slowly. Earth will submit to Council oversight or face systemic isolation. Before Rook could respond, a counselor rose abruptly. Arbiter, Counselor Vreth said, voice tight, our strategic cores are compromised. Zeltharin turned sharply. Clarify. They are not damaged, Vreth continued. They are constrained. Our command hierarchies fail under extended sanction modeling. Entire sectors become non-viable. Another delegate stood. The trade corridors destabilize without Earth's participation. Not through blockade, through absence. Zeltharin's claws curled. Earth is a minor economic contributor. Rook spoke then, not loudly, not forcefully. Direct contribution, yes. Every eye shifted to him. But Earth does not export dependency, he continued. We export stability. Navigation algorithms. Redundancy protocols. Crisis dampeners. You integrated them because they worked. A hush settled. An archivist stepped forward, voice shaking. Arbiter, he's correct. Earth systems are embedded across Council infrastructure. Quietly. Voluntarily adopted. Zeltharin stared. Why was I not informed? Because it was never presented as leverage, the archivist said. Just, best practice. Rook nodded. We learned early that influence declared is resisted. Influence useful is accepted. Zeltharin's gaze burned. You infected the Council. No, Rook replied. You invited us. Silence pressed in from all sides. A junior counselor whispered, if Earth withdraws. Rook finished the thought. Your systems won't fail immediately. They'll hesitate. Delay. Misalign. Small errors. Enough to erode trust between your fleets. Zeltharin slammed a claw against the dais. This is coercion. This, Rook said calmly, is consequence. The Arbiter straightened, voice rising. Then hear mine. The Council will not be intimidated by subtlety. We command fleets beyond counting. Rook met his eyes. Do they answer you, or your systems? The question landed like a blade. A technician cried out, Arbiter, fleet autonomy simulations are degrading. Command confirmations require extended verification cycles. Another voice followed, quieter. Orders are delayed. Zelfarin felt it then, not fear, but the loss of certainty. The council had always relied on immediate obedience. Delay was unthinkable. "You would cripple us without firing a weapon," he said. Rook nodded once. "Weapons escalate. We prefer endings." A long pause stretched. Delegates exchanged looks, some angry, some frightened, some calculating. Councillor Vreth spoke again, more cautiously. "What does Earth want?" Rook answered without hesitation. "Non-interference. No oversight. No judgments rendered without our consent." Zelfarin laughed bitterly. "You ask exemption from law." "No," Rook corrected. "From assumption." The Citadel voice interrupted. "Arbiter. Updated projections indicate continued escalation results in Council destabilization within 2 standard cycles." Zelfarin closed his eyes. For the first time in centuries, the Council's greatest weapon, fear, was not pointed outward. It was pointed inward. He opened his eyes and looked at the human. "You planned this." Rook shook his head. "We planned for this." Zelfarin's voice dropped. "If we withdraw judgment, what assurance do we have?" Rook's reply was immediate. "The same assurance you have always relied on. Self-interest." A murmur spread, uneasy but undeniable. Councillor Vreth straightened. "Arbiter, the vote must be reconsidered." Zelfarin hesitated, then nodded once. "Very well," he said, voice heavy. "Councillors. Vote." Light rippled across the tiers as decision matrices activated. One by one, sigils shifted. Abstain. Revoke. 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 The pattern became impossible to ignore. The Citadel voice spoke. Judgment rescinded. Earth's status revised to autonomous sovereign. Council oversight denied. The words echoed through the chamber like a seismic event. Zelfarin exhaled slowly. "The Council withdraws." Rook inclined his head, not in triumph, but closure. "Wise," he said. The Arbiter met his gaze, something like respect flickering beneath resentment. "You will be watched." Rook's expression remained neutral. "We always are." The projection faded. In the chamber, no one spoke. The sigils of conquered civilizations glowed faintly above them, reminders of what fear had built, and what it had destroyed. High Arbiter Zelfarin sank back into his throne, understanding at last. Humanity had not come to conquer the galaxy. They had come to make conquest unnecessary. And the Galactic Council had realized, far too late, that fear no longer belonged to them. Earth did not celebrate. No banners rose over cities. No fleets paraded across orbit. The transmission from the Galactic Council ended, and life continued with the same quiet discipline it always had. That restraint was not accidental. Humanity had learned long ago that victory announced too loudly invited challenge. Commander Elias Rook stood on the observation deck above Earth, watching dawn pull a thin blue line across the planet's curve. The sunlight touched oceans first, then land, then the scattered lights of cities winding down their night cycles. Everything looked unchanged. That was the point. A soft tone sounded behind him. "Council channels are clear," said Director Mara Keen, stepping beside him. "No hostile movement. No sanctions. No posturing." Rook nodded. "They'll need time to relearn what authority feels like without fear." Keen folded her arms. "Some will resent us." "Most will," Rook replied. "Resentment fades. Dependency doesn't." Below them, Earth's orbital traffic moved with precise indifference. Cargo ships adjusted course. Civilian transports aligned for descent. None of them carried weapons worth mentioning. None needed to. Keen studied Rook's reflection in the glass. "You let them believe they escaped intact." "They did," he said. "That matters." She frowned slightly. "We could have taken more." Rook turned to face her. Taking more would have changed the lesson. King considered that, then nodded slowly. The Council will rewrite their histories. They always do, Rook said. But the systems will remember. As if summoned by the thought, a data pane flickered to life. Autonomous infrastructure reports streamed past, Council networks adjusting, recalibrating, stabilizing under Earth's silent frameworks. No locks engaged. No failsafes triggered. The galaxy was allowed to function. Keen lowered her voice. Some of the Defense Council wanted to reveal the full deterrence lattice. Make it unmistakable. Rook's gaze remained on the planet. Fear revealed invites challenge. Fear implied invites caution. And silence, she asked. Silence, he said, invites imagination. A pause stretched between them, filled only by the distant hum of the station. What happens if they test us anyway? Keen asked. Rook finally looked at her. Then they'll learn why we don't repeat warnings. Across the stars, in the shadowed halls of the Galactic Council Citadel, High Arbiter Zeltherin sat alone. The chamber was empty now, its tiers dark, the sigils dimmed to archival glow. He had dismissed his attendants. Pride demanded solitude. Before him floated a single projection, Earth. Not its fleets. Not its weapons. Just the planet itself, rotating in calm defiance of expectation. They should have broken, he murmured. A faint reply came from the Citadel voice. Analysis indicates Earth's strategic posture discourages escalation without overt dominance. Zeltherin's eyes narrowed. They wield restraint as leverage. Correct, the voice said. Probability of successful Council coercion against Earth, negligible. The Arbiter leaned back, the weight of centuries pressing down on him. He had ruled through certainty. Through ritual. Through the assurance that judgment ended all debate. Humanity had introduced something worse. Delay. They did not defeat us, Zeltherin said quietly. No, the voice agreed. They repositioned you. He closed his eyes. Far from the Citadel, on the dark edge of Earth's moon, an installation without markings completed a final verification cycle. No weapons powered up. No commands were issued. The system logged one line of status text, then went dormant again. Deterrence, sustained. Back on Earth, Elias Rook walked through a quiet corridor toward his quarters. A junior officer passed him, saluted, hesitated. Sir, she asked. Yes? Rook replied. Did we win? Rook stopped. He considered the question longer than most. We ensured tomorrow, he said at last. The officer nodded, satisfied, and continued on her way. Rook entered his quarters and stood by the window, watching Earth turn beneath him. Somewhere beyond the atmosphere, the galaxy adjusted to a new constant, one it could not quantify, intimidate, or command. Humanity had not seized control. They had simply made themselves unavoidable. And in the quiet that followed the Council's retreat, the universe learned a truth older than empires. The most dangerous species is not the one that shouts its power, but the one that no longer needs to.